She smiles. She laughs. Her presence intoxicates. Her words dance like music in your ears. Her gaze seems to look into your soul. And yet, what if none of it is real? What if the woman you fall for is not a person, but an illusion? A projection, a trick of your mind, a mirror of your deepest insecurities and unmet desires. What if woman, as an idea, is not who she is, but who you want her to be? Nietzsche once said, "Woman is not even capable of friendship. Women are still cats and birds, or at best, cows." It's a brutal line, harsh, unforgiving. But like much of Nietzsche, it's not about the literal. It's a psychological sword aimed at the illusions men carry in their minds. To Nietzsche, woman was never a person to be understood through moral categories. She was nature, a force, a lie men willingly believe. The illusion of woman starts in the mind of man, not in her body, not in her personality, but in the fantasy he wraps around her. She becomes a symbol of beauty, of love, of purpose, of salvation. And yet, none of these things are truly her. They are the things he lacks in himself. This illusion is ancient. It's mythic. From Eve to Helen of Troy, from Cleopatra to Marilyn Monroe, woman has been less a person and more a screen onto which man projects his eternal hunger. She is always the muse, the goddess, the virgin, the whore. But never just human. She's either worshipped or feared. There is no in-between. Psychology tells us that we seek in others what we fail to resolve in ourselves. The man who never felt his mother's love, he seeks it in a woman's affection. The man whose ego is shattered, he seeks validation in a woman's gaze. The man terrified of being alone, he wraps himself in the comfort of her presence. But it's not love, it's dependency, it's fear wearing perfume. Nietzsche despised this kind of love. To him, love that is based on need is weakness. A man who cannot be alone is a slave, and a slave cannot love. He clings, he begs, he idealizes, but he never sees. Because to truly see a woman, you must first kill the illusion, and that's what terrifies most men. Because the illusion is safer than reality. The illusion makes life bearable. You want her to be soft, nurturing, loyal. You want her to be your reward for being a good man. But life does not reward you for being good, and women do not exist to complete you. They are not your missing half. They are not your savior, and they are not your enemy. They are simply human, complex, flawed, selfish, kind, cruel, beautiful, manipulative, generous, all at once. But that's not what you want to believe. You want her to be different. You want her to be the one who sees you, who understands you, who never leaves. But that dream is yours, not hers. Nietzsche wrote that all truths are illusions. We have forgotten our illusions. That includes the truth of woman, the one you carry in your mind, the one you chase in every relationship. It's a ghost, a story, a fiction you inherited from culture, religion, childhood, and desperation. It has nothing to do with her. The tragedy is that you don't fall in love with her. You fall in love with the version of her that lives in your head. And when she fails to live up to it, you call her fake, cold, crazy. You blame her for shattering the dream you created. But maybe she never lied. Maybe you just never looked. To Nietzsche, the will to power was the core of life. Everything that lives, strives. It does not want safety. It wants expansion. To impose its will. To dominate. This includes women. The idea that women are inherently selfless, gentle, nurturing. This too is illusion. Women seek power in different forms. They manipulate emotionally, socially, psychologically, not because they are evil, but because they are human, and humans manipulate to survive. You don't want to hear this. You want to believe in the fairy tale, that love will save you, that one day she will come and make everything make sense. But the truth is, she's not coming. And if she does, she won't be who you think. Because who you think she is doesn't exist. This is the red pill Nietzsche offers, not just about women, but about reality itself. He tears off the masks, he destroys the myths, and all that's left is the abyss, the raw, unbearable, silent truth. And from there, you build. From there, you become. You see, Nietzsche didn't hate women. He hated illusions. He hated the way men used women as crutches for their broken wills. He hated how men made women into gods, so they could remain children. He wanted men to grow up, to stop expecting love to heal them, to stop looking for validation in another's eyes, to become their own meaning. The illusion of woman is comfortable. That's why it survives. It gives men something to chase, something to cry over, something to blame. But comfort is not truth, and illusion is not love. The dark truth is this: you will never know a woman until you let go of everything you think you know about her. You must bury the idea of the perfect girl. You must accept that she is not here to complete you. She has her own will, her own hunger, her own shadows. And when you see her clearly, not as an angel, not as a demon, but as a person, you might, for the first time, know what it means to love without illusion. And that is rare, that is dangerous, that is freedom. But freedom comes at a cost. The death of comfort, the death of childhood, the death of fantasies. So the question is, do you really want to see? Or are you still in love with the lie? Most men choose the lie. It's easier, simpler, safer. They chase a woman who doesn't exist. They cry over her absence. They hate her when she betrays the role she was never meant to play. They live in a dream and they die in regret. But a very few, wake up. They stop chasing shadows. They stop worshipping beauty. They stop expecting affection in exchange for obedience. They look into the mirror and ask the hardest question of all: why did I need her to begin with? And when they find the answer, the illusion dies. And in that moment, woman is no longer an illusion. She is no longer the dream. She is simply another human being. And you are finally alone, with yourself. But that's where all truth begins. So you let go of the illusion. You stopped chasing her. You stopped believing she would fix you, save you, or see you. You let the image of the one dissolve in the acid of truth. But now what? What comes after the illusion dies? Silence, emptiness, a strange kind of mourning, not for her, but for the fantasy you lost. The fantasy that once gave your pain a purpose, that once made you feel like all your waiting, your effort, your self-denial meant something. But now, you see it clearly. You were never in love with her. You were in love with the part of yourself you buried. She was your hope, your escape, your secret proof that someone, somewhere, would finally make life worth living. You gave her a job she never asked for. You made her the lighthouse in your storm, the mother of your emotional wounds, the prize for playing nice in a world that doesn't care about niceness. And now that illusion is gone, you're left face to face with yourself. And it's uncomfortable, isn't it? You see how deeply you depended on her to give your life meaning, to make your suffering feel noble. But your suffering was never noble. It was just fear dressed up as virtue. Nietzsche called this ressentiment, the quiet resentment that builds when you suppress your will to power. When you deny your desires, your instincts, your rage, your ambition, and wrap yourself in moral superiority instead. You tell yourself you're better because you're loyal, respectful, patient. You think you're more real than the others, but deep down, you're seething. Because all that virtue was just a strategy, a hidden contract. You thought that if you were good enough, loyal enough, different enough, she would love you. But love is not a reward. It is not earned through obedience. And women are not judges handing out trophies to the most compliant man. When the illusion breaks, you see the truth. Morality, love, virtue, they were all masks you wore to hide your fear of rejection, fear of being alone, fear of your own insignificance. You loved her not because she was free, but because she made you feel less empty. Nietzsche warned us about this kind of love. He called it slave morality. The kind of love that doesn't lift you, it chains you. You think you're being selfless, but really, you're manipulating. You're giving to get, smiling to be noticed, suppressing yourself to feel worthy. And when it doesn't work, you feel betrayed. But the betrayal was never hers. It was yours. You betrayed yourself when you made her your savior. You turned love into a transaction. And when the deal fell through, you called her cruel. She wasn't cruel. She was just never who you thought she was. You see, real love is not about comfort. It's about clarity. And most people can't handle that. Because to see clearly, you have to stand alone. Without hope. Without promises. Without illusions. And that's terrifying. But it's also freedom. When you no longer need her to complete you, you are finally free to see her. Not as a dream, not as a demon, not as a reward. Just her. Flawed, conflicted, complex, just like you. You stop expecting her to fill the holes in your soul. You stop needing her approval. You stop measuring your worth in her affection. And in that space, something strange happens. You no longer chase. You no longer beg. You no longer perform. You just are. That is the Übermensch, the man who creates his own values, who does not ask permission to exist, the man who does not kneel, does not whine, does not bargain for love. He gives not because he expects return, but because giving is his will. He loves not because he needs, but because he chooses. And that kind of man, he is dangerous, because he cannot be controlled. He does not fear abandonment. He does not collapse when she walks away. He does not make her the reason for his strength. He was strong before she arrived, and he will be strong after she leaves. This is not bitterness. This is not hate. This is awakening. You no longer romanticize your pain. You no longer beg the world to love you for it. You carry it like a sword. You become honest, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts, because honesty is the death of illusion. And you'll notice something. When you stop chasing the illusion loses its power over you. That magnetic pull, that unbearable need, that ache in your chest. It fades. Not because you stopped feeling, but because you stopped lying to yourself. She was never the answer. She was the mirror. She showed you where you were weak, where you were needy, where you lacked. She showed you the depth of your illusion by refusing to play the role you wrote for her. And for that, maybe you should thank her, because in breaking you, she revealed you. Now comes the hard part. Rebuilding without illusion, loving without worshipping, giving without expecting. Seeing her not as magic, but as mortal, as flawed, as selfish, as wild, as human, just like you. And when that happens, love is no longer about completing each other. It's about witnessing, respecting, clashing, growing. Even if that growth means leaving, even if it means nothing lasts. Because nothing real needs to last. It only needs to be true. So here you are, awake, alone, but not lonely. Because you're not waiting anymore. You're not chasing. You're not hoping she will come and rescue you from yourself. You are yourself, and that is the only freedom worth having.